Welcome to the deep dive. We're constantly told to chase positivity, right? Like
Mhm.
all the time. But what if not caring so much is actually the key? Today we're diving into Mark Manson's The Subtle Art of Not Giving a Feck. It's definitely not your typical self-help book. It's kind of like a refreshing slap in the face, honestly, but one that holds some pretty deep truths.
Exactly. And our mission here is really to pull out the core ideas from this book. It really pushes back against conventional wisdom, doesn't it? It offers this very pragmatic way to live by basically choosing what's actually worth your emotional energy.
Right. It's not apathy.
No, not at all. It's about smart prioritization. Way more subtle than that title might make you think.
Okay, so let's unpack that. If chasing happiness is the standard advice, how does Manson say that backfires?
Well, he starts with this idea he calls the backwards law. Alan Watts talked about this too. It's this paradox.
Yeah.
The harder you try to grab onto positive stuff like happiness or feeling secure,
The further away it feels.
spot on, you end up feeling bad about feeling bad. He calls it the feedback loop from hell. Society tells us negative feelings are, just not okay.
Mm-hmm.
And the way out, he suggests, is kind of brilliant in its simplicity. Just, well, don't give a fuck that you feel bad. You sort of short-circuit the loop.
But that's not indifference, you're saying.
No, absolutely not. It's a skill. That's subtlety number one. Being okay with being different, living by your values, not just what everyone else expects. And subtlety number two. To get through tough times, you need to care about something more important than the difficulty itself.
Okay, so it's about choosing where that fuck goes, basically.
Precisely. Conscious choice of where you direct that energy.
Right, and this leads to another idea that really jumped out at me. Happiness is a problem. That sounds wrong. Can you break that down?
Yeah, it's a major reframe. Manson argues happiness isn't about having no problems. It's actually about the joy you get from finding and solving problems that actually matter to you. Life is just a series of problems, one after another. So, the quality of your life isn't about avoiding problems. It's about having better, more meaningful ones.
Better problems. I like that.
And that ties into his point that you are not special. This idea that we're somehow entitled to an easy, struggle-free life, that just sets you up for disappointment.
Yeah, you see that a lot.
Right.
Yeah.
But if you embrace being ordinary, that struggle is part of growth, then you can actually focus on tackling challenges that are worthwhile instead of just, trying to dodge discomfort. Ask yourself, are you avoiding problems or actively seeking out good ones?
That makes a lot of sense. And building on that, the difference he draws between fault and responsibility, that feels really important.
Oh, it's huge.
Yeah.
You might not be at fault for something bad happening. Maybe you lost your job, got sick, wasn't your fault. But Manson insists you are always responsible for how you choose to respond.
Always.
Always. Saying, it's not my fault as a way to avoid dealing with it. He calls that a fallacy. You're just giving away your power to change things.
You lose your agency.
Exactly. It pushes you towards what he calls good values. Things like honesty, humility, taking responsibility, which help you grow. Versus bad values like needing constant approval or chasing superficial highs, which just keep you stuck.
So if someone's listening and thinking, okay, I get it, but how do I actually start doing this? What's the advice? He flips motivation around too, doesn't he?
He does. We usually think
Yeah.
motivation first, then inspiration, then action.
Right. Yeah, wait to feel motivated.
Manson says, flip it. Action at inspiration equals motivation. Just do something, anything, even small. The inspiration, the motivation that often follows the action.
Just start.
Just start. And a huge part of choosing what matters is learning to say no. You define yourself just as much by what you reject. If you truly value X, you have to be willing to reject non-X. Setting boundaries protects your focus for what's genuinely important.
Yeah. Boundaries. Crucial.
And linking all this together, he brings in mortality. Not in a morbid way, though.
Right. Not depressing, but clarifying.
Exactly. Thinking about death is like the ultimate filter. It forces you to ask what really matters in the time you have. He warns against getting caught up in, immortality projects just out of fear. True meaning, he suggests, is found more in creating connection and joy right now for yourself and others.
Wow. Okay. So wrapping this up, what's the big takeaway for you listening to this deep dive on the subtle art? It feels like a really a no-nonsense guide. It pushes you to rethink problems, pain, even entitlement for a more intentional life, maybe?
Definitely. It's about living with more authenticity. And maybe a final thought to leave you with. What values do you hold? What things do you really give a fuck about that would genuinely stand up if you seriously contemplated your own mortality? What truly matters?